Ooh, pretty. Good thing you're not real. You couldn't possibly... What? What? What wizardry is this? So welcome back, everybody. Hello, corpse. How are you doing? Ah! You're fine. You made a little beeping noise. It wasn't my phone. No. That was you. Must have been. So welcome back, Space Engineers. Someone posted about this bug in the forums, and it's a very interesting one. So if you... It looks like you gotta reset it every time, but that's interesting. So if you capture a blueprint of a warhead that is already counting down, and you try to project that, it will... Oops, I guess we could have just turned it on and off again. Let's do that. Oops. Yeah, if you do that, if you capture it while it's counting down, it will continue counting down and explode. Blueprint. Bing, 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 bing. That one I captured with a shorter fuse, so it blew up right away. But you could exploit this quite a bit. I imagine if you just put the projector on a timer block and maybe just cycled it on or off again. Let's just try that again. I keep looking up blueprint to try to find the projector block. So I thought maybe with that it would just, it would, oh yeah. So highly exploitable, probably be fixed, and we're not going to take advantage of it. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Found out some other things that are quite interesting. Tortwing? Where are you, you terrible, terrible welder, you? Somebody on the forums also kind of determined why this guy is so terrible at what he does. And we can kind of demonstrate it a little bit by doing this. If we grind down these blocks... Yeah. Okay. And then we get inside Tortwing. Let's make sure I'm not going to get welded when we get back out. Then we start welding. You can see this block got repaired, as did the two on its side. So it is able to it's able to repair itself. So that's a change they made recently, where welders can repair things on the same grid. So that's good and bad. The bad thing is welders weld proportionate to how much blocks they're trying to weld. But the interesting part is it doesn't matter if the blocks need to be welded or not. So simply having this block here and in range of this welder and having these two blocks here is going to make this welder, I think, 1/4 of its speed that it should be. Because it's going to distribute that welding power between, well, these three blocks that are in range of itself and then whatever you're trying to weld. And if you're not welding a single block, then it's going to proportion that even less. So right here, we're in range of 3 blocks. So I would suspect it would be, or I guess 2 blocks. 2 blocks plus the 3 it already has. So that power should be, or the welding speed should be decreased by a factor of 5, I think. So that could explain why this guy is incredibly slow. So that also means if you're welding into areas where there's a lot of blocks, and most of them are done. So let's say we just want to weld somewhere close to these guys. Even though these blocks are complete, they're still going to affect the welding speed. So even though I would be like trying to weld this block, just the steel block, these guys would be affecting how quickly it does weld. So hopefully that gets fixed, because that seems kind of silly. For the meantime, we're going to have to remove these guys, because this guy is slow enough as he is, and he doesn't need to be constantly crippled. So unfortunately, goodbye. We need to get rid of your fang. Just your one tooth. You can have it back later, hopefully. But yeah, that'll affect things. So that's interesting. Because what that means, I think, is if you put a welder beside this welder, I can't demonstrate very easily. Let's see here. So if we got two welders and had them directly beside each other, let's get this guy out of there. Whoop. So if we had another welder like directly beside each other, they will probably affect, each one of these would be half the speed, I think. I don't know if that's true though, if you were trying to weld just a single block, which means having two welders would not be twice as fast as you would suspect. It would be the same speed, but I don't know if that's true. Anyway, it is interesting. Further testing may be required, but this alone should make him weld faster. And yeah, hopefully that gets fixed. So that, I don't know if it works the same with large ships. I haven't done that much playing around with it, but I did find that to be interesting, and at least knowing what the problem is can help us try to avoid it. So yeah, knowing why he's so terribly slow could help. So yeah, it looks like everything else is okay though. Nothing else is in range, I don't think. Like, I'm pretty sure we're gonna die, aren't we? That's not in range, or it would be welded. That's not in range. Okay. Alright, Tortwing. You are fixed, sort of. You're less terrible than you were before. Alright, everybody. So, I've decided something. Circles are terrible. Who wants to be circular? Not me. Not this ship. Nope. We're going for Octagon, because that's the way of the future. So we're going to have 8 sides. I like the idea of like a spherical shape or a cylindrical shape, but whenever you're working with blocks, you can't really make circles. You can make segments of lines, and then you indent, and then you do some lines. So that's not going to look all that good anyway. So in the interest of having nice straight lines, I figure we'll do an octagon. So I think I've worked this out. At least the distance from this point here, where these two meet, it's roughly the same to the halfway spot on the diagonal as it is to the halfway here. So what that should mean is all the sides should be roughly the same size or length, even though it doesn't look like it right now. And we could, let's put that other blueprint back up. Projectile blueprint. Mobile. Where are you? Where are you? Oh wait, stationary. What is it called again? What is this base? Why? M's. Okay, I was like, what did I name it? I guess that one is the one we want. Oh right, we don't need the vertical displacement anymore though, as we're not exploding things. There we go. So we can reset that back to 0, and that should put some of this. So actually, this should complete the line, and maybe give us an example. But there you go. So yeah, I think we're gonna go with Octagon. Octagonal. I don't know how would you. It's an octagon. It has 8 sides. Let's not try to say the word. It's octagon. All right, we're gonna put a big 4 letters on the top. Paint it red. It'll be beautiful. All right. One way we can actually determine the distance. Oops. Is using Tortwing. He's got a nice little measuring tape built in. So if we line up. If we put his beacon or whatever roughly at the corner, I mean, we could demonstrate hopefully that they're the same length, give or take a meter or so, since we're working in blocks of 2.5. All right, so from there to there is roughly 83. Let's see what the other way is. How terribly did I screw up? 83, 83, 83, and well, 79. Maybe we could have done. I think if I had another block, it would just go the other way. So that one, the diagonal would be longer instead of the straight. So I think that's okay. All right, I've also been thinking about other layout, or the layout of the don't crash, of the place. So I like what I've been doing here, for the most part. I want to rework the refineries, I think, a bit, which isn't too bad. I've done some work over here at the med bay. I couldn't get it to work the way I was kind of talking about in the previous episode, where we could possibly put a tunnel down or something like that. It's just not enough room here, really, to do much. I was thinking about trying to get some ramps going down, and I decided, nope, not going to work. Thought about what I talked about, having something jet forward and try to support this. Tried to do that, couldn't come up with anything I really liked. So all I really did was expand it. So instead of having two, like 3x3 sections where the med bay was, I just connected it out. Not sure what I'll do with these little spaces here, whether we'll try to put glass or just fill it in completely with the catwalks. Okay. So what I ended up doing down here, it's hard to see. Hopefully we can start welding some of this stuff soon. But it's just basically continuing this cross section of a shape. So this diagonal bit with one straight bit and then another diagonal bit. That just continues all the way around, essentially. So we got a diagonal and then a little flat bit and then a diagonal down. And I think I'm going to keep that going all the way. So I might join up these two bits so that they are one piece. We'll keep this gap here. And then this guy will continue to the edge of the ship. For this area, I did push it out quite a bit, which means there's a fair bit of space there. So what I think we'll try to do today is work out what we want to do with it. I kind of want to turn this guy into a ship and move him. On the other hand, it's very convenient for him to be a station. So if we do move him, because like right now, I don't think this is connected to anything, what I just broke. So if we were a ship, that would start floating away. Most of this is just sketching stuff, so it's not a huge deal if it kind of goes away. But it would be nice if it stuck around. So if we do move him, because I think I would like to position him above the grav ball and then drill another hole. And then we'd have a bit better collection method, I think. And then we could turn him into a station again, so we could relocate him, because we're going to need to anyway, because if we're looking at this, the asteroid's kind of in our way. So come to think of it, I think that kind of decides it regardless. We need to move him, so yeah, I guess we'll do it anyway. And if we're going to move him, we might as well move him into a better position. And if we position that collector piece kind of right above the asteroid, we're going to be well above it, so that we're not going to be in the way. Okay, okay. Good, good. All right. In terms of exploration, I think we're going to leave it for now. They're going to refine the procedural thing, I'm pretty sure. I can't guarantee we have ships out there. There might be something with the cargo ships. If you have cargo ships enabled, you get cargo ships, but you don't get the other ships, and vice versa. But that might be a bug, or it might just be on dedicated servers. I'm not too sure. But anyway, I don't want to spend too much time just exploring endlessly, but we'll get there. It's cool that there's stuff out there. I like it. And we're kind of set up pretty good because we have our existing asteroids, so there's problems with it's kind of random if you'll get enough resources to do what you want to do. So, yeah, it's hit or miss, but we're kind of set up with our asteroid. It probably has everything we'll ever need. So for us to explore, it would be mainly just for fun, not because we need to. So we'll see. We'll just kind of watch and observe and what happens to it, and then maybe we'll decide what we want to do. All right. So I kind of made this the edge of the ship, but it's pretty, I mean, it's just arbitrary. If we need to push this wall out, we can, and we might. All right, so what I want to do here, so this is going to be the bottom layer of the ship, basically, the inner part. So right here, we're going to have probably a double thick wall with a space, maybe more. This part will be heavy armor, top part will be light armor, so the inner part will be light, outer part heavy. So this will be exposed out. So this will be the very bottom of our ship. But as we get over here, we'll have another section. So we're going to have our loading bay that is lower. But he's not going to come all the way out, I don't think. I think he'll probably stop somewhere just around here. Maybe. So from there to about out to here. Maybe not even quite that. What are you? Oh. There's 23 metal grids down there. Good to know. Alright. Probably fell out of one of these things when we were building it. But yeah, what I want to do here then is I want to put a door. Oops. Working on a design in creative, I found something I like with using rotors and blast doors. I think we'll need more space. I think we need more space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we need like an opening of 7 for the door. And I don't want it to be right up tight. So it'd be like 1, 2. So maybe this would be the start. Failing with rotating on camera. There we go. And let's bring this back as much as we can. So if this was the door, let's just mark it out. The one I did was an even size door, but I think we can do it as an odd, at least in one direction. The other way, I think it has to be even, because it's going to be split. It's going to be split in 2. And I actually wanted to make it another section of one, but I was having issues where I had like multiple rotors and doors kind of occupying the same space but not really touching, and it was causing some like stuttering in the game. That doesn't look right. Alright, so now 1, 2, so that's half, 3, 4, and then we start coming back. Like so. And where are we? Yeah, we're under the platform. That's not a huge deal, but I'll have to work on the position. This actually looks really big. Much bigger than I need it to be. Yoink! But the idea, this is going to be our hatch, or our, what would you call it? Our way into the ship, essentially. I don't think there's going to be a way in towards the center. So in order to get a ship inside, it'll be through this door. And we'll probably have one on each side. So there'll be 4 doors in total. And I'm thinking this will go straight up. And then you could fly up here. I'd prefer this not to be in the way, so maybe I'll push it back. Or maybe the door doesn't have to be that big. Maybe I can readjust. So you'd be able to fly up here, and I think we'd keep going. So you could keep flying up, and you'd go through another hole. That would bring you to the 2nd floor. So I think we'll have a floor somewhere between where we are and the next area. So maybe something like that. And this floor won't be everywhere, though. So let's see. So it would come up to where we are, roughly. And we could still do the window thing we talked about. So there would be a hole here and another door. Not right here, I'm just sketching. So you'd be able to fly up through here to go to this level. And then, yeah, we could still have the window because it wouldn't be obstructed. So if you're looking this way, there'd still be plenty of room for the window, I think. And it could continue up to the next floor. And what we could do is actually not make this... Oh, we're at a steel plate. Not make this connect to the wall and almost have it like a floating sectional floor. So it'd only go from like there to here. It wouldn't actually be connected on the walls. Maybe it would just be connected through beams and the like. Okay, let's grab some steel plates. More ammo, please. Thank you. Okay. Now, one thing we can do, if we want to relocate stuff, like these guys, I could relocate by turning them into a ship, I think, and just flying them to where I need to be. These guys, I don't think I could. I think I want to move them over one and up one. But in order to do that with these ones, I'd have to destroy all these ramps. And if I'm going to destroy all the ramps, I don't know. I guess that might still be easier, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm thinking the same thing from this point of view. So in the middle of our ship, let's just do some more laying out, I think, this episode. Try to get that door sorted maybe for the next one and get your guys' thoughts on those guys, if you think it's good or not. Terrible idea. Okay. So I think I want the same thing here. I think in the middle of the ship, we should be able to fly all the way up. So we'd have just kind of like a trim of sorts. Maybe this will be in an octagon as well. So it'll go straight across, and then it'll turn roughly where it should turn in relation to that, if it was a section of the pie, so to speak. Yeah, so here it would curve in. So basically we'd have a platform above these ones, and then we could use these platforms for various stuff. And we could possibly make them hollow, so that we have space in between the floor. So if we want to run any conveyor lines and stuff like that, we can do so without it having to come through the floor and be visible down below. And we had the idea of putting the cockpit, or the main like control thing, at the very top of the ship, kind of looking up through a glass dome. I think that could be cool. I kind of want to make it, not sure how to do it, but I like that idea. And I actually want the ship to be controlled. Let's see. Let's get a cockpit. Flight seat. Get it right. I don't have any interior plate. But I want it to be positioned like that. So the top of the ship is actually going to be the front of the ship. And the back of the ship is actually going to be facing the part facing the asteroid right now. In terms of when we are flying. Because I think we're going to have majority of the thrusters down below. At least more compared to any other side. So that will be our kind of main thrust. We'll be basically flying directly upwards. But when we are actually flying this thing, we don't want to be holding up. When we're flying and looking up, we'd rather be facing forward and flying up. So we'll have to arbitrarily give this thing kind of an orientation. So with our cockpit, obviously, we'd have to pick a side to put it on, or we could have 4 of them, I guess, on every side, and depending which way we want to be up at that given moment, we can do it that way. But yeah, so that might be neat. So I think we could do that, and yeah, kind of try to make it like a glass cockpit somewhere, or have a glass dome on the top of some kind, or something that could facilitate that. I want to put a bunch of gyroscopes somewhere, and I'd prefer them to be in the middle. So we'll have to find a section in here that could even be at the cockpit, or just bundled together around this guy. It might be fun to include him somewhere visually, that we can walk around and see him, whether he's in the cockpit or not, or in another area below the cockpit. We had an idea in the cooperative series to do a computer room for all of our timer blocks. So it might be fun to do that on the station. And maybe this could be in the same room as our timer blocks. We just have to figure out a layout that we could expand to facilitate however many we need. And then it looks like we're going to get programming here pretty soon, guys. I don't program. I don't know how. So I'm not sure how much I'll be able to use that feature, at least once it's brought in. But it should mean that more automation options should be coming with it. So hopefully we'll get access to more stuff. Be able to control things a little bit easier, not only through programming, but also just in general. So we'll see about that. But I think we're going to end it here, guys. So in terms of this thrust down here that I was talking about, that will kind of dictate how big of an area this is. So if this is going to take up kind of this space, then that means we can't have any thrusters in this area. So that would restrict this outer area to be used for thrusters. And I'm not sure how we'll do it. Maybe try to come up with some kind of pattern on the bottom of it. But yeah, okay. So I think we're set for a little bit. I'll have to work this out, figure out how we can get this door in place, and then maybe we could take a look at that. Probably won't add it in right away. Yeah. I don't want to have like hanging off bits just yet, because they do kind of cause issues. Not being part of the ship, they kind of hang off and stuff like that. On that note, though, I do want to make our welder, I think, for our stations. So once we are really like set on what we have and we want to just kind of reproduce it, I want to create something to do that for us. So I don't want to fly around with Tortwing or by hand and do that. I think we should build something off the station that could do that. And the benefit of that is it's going to be hooked up to our storages, so we can just store all the parts on the station and it will just use them as it builds itself. So what I'm hoping to do, I haven't tried it, is using advanced rotor. We're going to create some kind of crane on top of this, so this would be hooked up to our conveyor line into our storage. And then we got to figure out how we want to do our crane. So I mean, we need conveyor parts, and we're going to need pistons probably if we want it to be able to like extend out. So this would mean we could rotate, but depending where I drop this down, that would be its fixed location on how far out it could do. So we got to figure out how we want to do it. If we just want to have it like a compressed tube, like, oh, don't change orientations. No. That way. That way. So we could do something like that. And... oh god, no, I don't want to die. Chip, save me. Save me, Chip. So yeah, we could do something like that. Obviously, this wouldn't work exactly as it is because I wouldn't be able to reach anything directly below. Let's just turn off those lights for a second. So we might have to make it some kind of thing that goes this way first and then actually doubles back. Oh wow, that's tricky to hit. And double backs on itself. So its extendable length is actually up here at the back of the unit. Tube me, please. And then, yeah, we'd go all the way forward with it. And then we'd come down basically somewhere around here. More steel plates. Now, I forgot to set my timer when I started, so I don't know how long I've been recording. Hopefully I'm not too long. I'm going to end it here really short, quickly. Just throw this at you guys so you can get your thoughts on it. Okay, so from here we'd go like down, and then maybe we'd have to have some kind of piston in place to do that motion as well. Either that be built into the center part or built into the hangy bit here. Technical term, hangy bit. And then we put a welder on it. Or we do, let's see here, options, conveyor, welder. We could make it so we don't have to extend this and we just have not the interior blocks. Interior plates, please. Let me into the container, please. Yoink, yoink. We could have it just one solid arm of welders. That's roughly the height that our ship is ever going to be. And we just connect them up like that. And then we'd have the welders that I can't place because we're too close. Like that. Or something. So we'd have this thing that could go around and it would weld basically a vertical section at any given time. So it could extend out that way. Currently it can go down just 2 blocks. That's not very useful. But if we made this section basically as tall as we have it right now at least, so it could do 1 floor at a time. So we could have it like from here down to probably the bottom of this, maybe a bit lower. So it would be able to do that. And we would basically rotate it around and extend it out as we need to. We could try to automate it to some extent. We'll have to see about that. But that's the idea. So the goal is to only build a quarter of it and then kind of have this thing build the rest of it for us. And then the quarter of it will hopefully supply it with enough parts and power and all that kind of stuff to complete the job. Then once we get this bottom layer done, we could start on our next floors and all that kind of stuff. Alright guys, well, I think that'll do. We can reclaim some of these blocks. Our pencil marks that we don't keep, but we just sketched. I'll work out this door, exactly where it's going to be, if I need to push out the hull anymore or not. This is a good reason why we shouldn't build the outside before we build the inside, because we might trap ourselves from doing something that we really want to do, simply because we didn't give ourselves enough space. So hopefully we do, or hopefully we still can, but we also don't want this thing to be massively massive, so some restriction in size is good. Alright, that is all. Goodbye everybody, thank you for watching. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, etc., etc.